Hi, and welcome to today's episode. And today we'll be talking about graphic design's three most influential people. Today, the first person we're going to be talking about is Caroline Davidson, the woman who's most known for designing the Nike swoosh and selling it to Nike for a grand total of $35. Davidson attended school at Portland State University, where she started off with a journalism major, but then eventually would switch into becoming a graphic designer. Davidson would get her first big break in the graphic design world when CEO and chairman of Nike, Phil Knight, asked her to design 5 different logos for Nike. Knight asked Davidson if she could design a logo that had something to do with movement. And after the 5 mocks, Davidson came up with the Nike swoosh. This would eventually become the logo for Nike. As stated earlier, Davidson only sold the swoosh to Nike for a grand total of $35. Nike is one of the biggest companies ever, and their logo is one of the most iconic. Even when you see that swoosh without Nike underneath, you know right away it's Nike. Without Davidson, Nike would never have been the same company, and probably would never have had such an iconic logo such as the swoosh. Nike eventually would compensate Davidson for her hard work and pay her more than $35. The second designer is Michael Bierut. He is an extremely important, extremely famous person in the design industry. When Michael finished school, he moved to New York and was hired by design icon Massimo Vignelli. Michael was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and he would later attend the University of Cincinnati for art and planning. Michael soon after became one of America's leading graphic designers. He is a critic and an educator, and he has become one of the vice presidents of graphic design at Vignelli Associates. Michael would move on, and in 1990 he became a partner with the New York office Pentagram, where he served clients to the likes of the New York Times, Saks Fifth Avenue, Walt Disney, and many, many more. In addition, Michael is known for designing the Guitar Hero logo as well as the Gap logo. Both of these logos are very recognizable, and he did a great job on both of them. Finally, in addition, Michael was appointed to the presidency of the AIGA, and he was also became the senior critic at Yale University. So the third and final designer is Chip Kidd, and he's a contemporary graphic designer, author, and editor, and he's best recognized for making book covers and also for doing comic book covers. Kidd was born on September 12, 1964 in Pennsylvania, and he grew up to be an associate art director at the New York publishing house of Knopf. He was hired as the publishing house as a junior associate, and he did a lot of freelance work, a lot of work for various firms, and he helped out a lot of different graphic designers. And like I said earlier, he was also very involved with cover art on comic books. So Kidd worked very closely with DC, and he worked on a lot of their cover art, and he collaborated with American cartoonist and editor Art Spiegelman on a lot of different DC comics and other superhero-related comic book covers. Kidd is a very talented designer, and not only does his designing speak for itself, but he also steps out of the boundaries, and he's written books such as The Cheese Monkeys, and he also has a website for himself which goes in depth about his work and gives a great understanding of what he does, who he is as a person, and like I said, it gives a great portfolio of his work. I'd like to end this video by saying thank you for listening and watching what I've provided. This is just my opinion and who I think the three most influential designers are, past, present, and future. I like how each designer was different. There was a variety of different designs that each designer did. I liked how they all had unique tastes and unique spins on all their designs, whether it be from simple as the Nike swoosh to something that's more complicated to a DC comic that requires a lot of art, a lot of color, a lot of patience. I really enjoyed how each designer had different aspects to their designing. I'd just like to end this video by saying how much I enjoyed making this project and about how interesting all these different designers were. At the end of the day, it was a great project.